Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree? I travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody is looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to abuse you. Some of them want to be abused. Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree? I travel the world in the seven seas. Everybody is looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to abuse you. Some of them want to be abused. Sweet dreams. Who am I? I travel the world. Everybody is looking for something. Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree? I travel the world in the seven seas. Everybody is looking for something. Sweet dreams are made of this. Who am I to disagree? I travel the world in the seven seas. Everybody is looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to abuse you. Some of them want to be abused.
What's up, party people of the SFL? What's going on? Good to see you. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Welcome to episode 23 of Axis Live. I'm your host, Dave Axis. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you can hear me okay, give me some thumbs up. Give me some feedback in the chat real quick. Let me know. Hopefully you could hear the music okay as well. So check this out, peeps. You know, we're going into week 8. Right? Week 8. So after this weekend, we're 2/3 of the way done with season 15 already. What happened? Well, where did the time go? Where did the season go? I don't even know. Check out these games we have coming up for week 8. Look at this. If you're looking at your screens, Louisiana at Houston. Louisiana still tied for the best record in the SFL. Traveling to Houston this week. St. Louis goes on the road to the dreadest Las Vegas, home field advantage. Portland coming off a loss after a win with going to Vancouver, who didn't play so great Monday night. Chicago still dealing with their woes, going to Jacksonville, who's playing really well right now. Atlanta at Arizona, Mark Chisholm versus Eddie Gage. That's going to be phenomenal. Lone Star and Fort Worth, so we've got the I-35 battle again. Going on. Round 1 was won by Lone Star, but we played at home, so now we have to travel to Fort Worth, see if we can hold on to that trophy, or if Fort Worth is going to take it back from us. Baltimore, one of the top teams in the league at 5-2, but going to Mexico City, who's also 5-2. I would actually say personally, Mexico City is the surprise team of the season for me, being at 5-2. Tulsa at Florida. That's kind of a toss-up game for me. We'll see what Jack's data says. Carolina traveling to London. London fresh off victory lane, so let's see how they do. And they get to play at home, so that's always a good advantage for them. Sioux Falls, who tough game against Lone Star, I might say. Traveling to Queen City, who's been up and down. And then of course we have Denver, who is tied with Louisiana at top of the SFL. Traveling to Charleston. I think this is your game of the week. It's also the crowd play game of the week. I want to see I think this is a good test to see if Denver's for real. Charleston had that tough schedule coming out the gate. and they've been playing well as of late. And now they get to play home to one of the best teams in the SFL. So we'll see how that's going. So lots of stuff on tap for Week 8. Let's see. Let's see who's in this chat tonight. Let's see who's in here. Let me scroll back up to the top here. Bo Martin Jr., you were the first one in here. Congrats, bro. I love the people who are here early that I get to chat with during the music. Hugo, good to see you. Jeff, you better be here. Freddie, good to see you. Pink Lisa, I see you. Everybody's looking for something. Isn't that a great edition or a rendition of that song? Tom Rahman, good thing you're in there too. Doug Britton, good to see you, buddy. Glad to have you in the house. Juicy, what's up? What do we got down here? iProblematic. Hey, iProblematic, who are you? I know who you are probably, but I want to double check. So type who you are in the chat. I see you are here all the time. There's Dwayne. I see Jeremy in the house. Wiggy 9800. Rosca, good to see you, bro. Kendra Hall, welcome back. Good to see you. I don't know if Tom's with you or not, but it's good to have you guys in the chat on Tuesday. Bob Funk, you're always here. Mello Taylor, good to see you, buddy. And then, of course, Frank is in the house, too. So, don't know how the numbers are looking overall, but I see a lot of familiar names. Glad to see you. Glad to have you all here. All right, let's get this party started now. Let's introduce our panel. We've got a really great panel tonight. So, as you guys know, Sim Scouts Inc. has been with me not just in the offseason, but throughout the whole season. And they've been doing the previews. They've been doing the recaps. Esports has been having Epic Esports has been helping out along with a few other guys. But Sim Scouts has been consistent. Well, tonight we got 3 of them bad boys in the house to do games for us. So back with us, a show regular, tight end with Las Vegas, and a member of Sim Scouts Inc. Like I mentioned, Frank the Franchise Wade is back with us. Frank, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing fine, Dave. How y'all doing?
I'm doing outstanding. Another show regular and also with Sim Scouts Inc., as well as the free safety and director of social media for my beloved, glorious Lone Star Glory. Thomas Smith is back with us. Thomas, what's going on, bro?
Hey, how you doing tonight, Dave?
I'm doing really good, bro. I'm doing really good. Another show regular, third member of the Sim Scouts Inc. crew. He's been a little busy lately, but he's been on the show quite a few times. Linebacker for the London Knights, fresh off victory this weekend, and director of content for the SFL. Jeff Gagne is with us. Jeff, how you doing, bro?
London's feeling dangerous, Dave. We're back. We're ready to go.
Dude, I can see you pulling 2 in a row this week. I got to tell you, we'll talk about that more in a minute, but I can see it happening. Finally, our special guest for the evening tonight, the longtime quarterback of the Las Vegas Fury, the assistant director of roster management for the entire SFL, and season 16 SFL expansion hopeful, along with Ray, is Tom Rahman. Tom, how you doing, bro?
Well, I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here.
Yep, thanks for coming. Also want to let everybody know, after the show, Tom is going to be sticking around. Him and Ray is going to join him, and they are the focus of Access After Dark. Immediately after the regular show, basically just continuation of the regular show. But Ray will be on here. Tom will be on here talking about their expansion bid, the Los Angeles Lycans. They're going to tell us about them, and we're going to open up to questions. If you guys have questions about the expansion team, about things, like why Los Angeles, anything, whatever, uniforms, what their philosophies are, whatever you want to ask them. It'll be wide open to everybody to ask whatever they want. So, all right, that being said, let's get into some games. All right, we got Week 8 games. We are kicking off on Saturday with the first place Louisiana Revolution at 6-1, traveling to Houston, who just came off a bad loss. Frank, does Louisiana continue their winning ways, or does Houston get back on track this week?
Well, let's see, Dave. Louisiana 6-1, Houston 3-4. Louisiana has the luxury of having 4 home games already. They also have the 5th best offense, 5th best defense. Overall, the Revolution is 4-0 at home, 2-1 on the road. The only loss was to a 5-2 Mexico City team. Johnny Pickler is ranked 19th as far as yardage goes, but it has only 189 attempts, and he's fourth rated in QBR at 97.5. He doesn't have to throw the ball much, and I'll tell you why in just a second. He has 12 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. In the backfield, you have Reggie Streeter, leads the league with 1,176 yards rushing and 12 touchdowns. He also leads the league in fumbles with 5, but when the next closest running back is 253 yards away from you and your team is 6-1, that tends to get a little overlooked. Jake Bennett leads the team in interceptions with 6. That makes him second overall in the league. Luther Gahn is fourth overall in sacks with 11. Last week destroyed a good Vancouver team at home while Houston lost big to Baltimore on the road. Houston loves to play at home when they're 3-0, but sadly on the road they are 0-4. Kentez Johnson is 15th in yardage, 20th in QBR. He has 12 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. Bad Leroy Brown is his go-to target with 607 yards. Good for 10th overall, 6 touchdowns where he's tied for 5th overall. We did not see Warren Murray last week, but he still ranks 6th overall with 770 yards. We saw him, but he didn't produce like he normally produces. Rookie of the Year candidate Brody Gulch leads the league in tackles with 84. Which Houston team will we see? They have the home record and an offense that can strike quick, but Louisiana is confident enough where they can take one on the road. I think this is going to be a really good, exciting football game.
Yeah, I think Jack's data agrees with you, and Brody needs to stay healthy for sure. Jack's data only has Louisiana favored by 3.5, so that'll be interesting. They have an over-under of 57.5, and the Who You Got by only 14 votes, 87-63, has Louisiana, but they are going Louisiana. Jack's data going Louisiana. Sounds like you're going Louisiana, but these are the games where everybody thinks one thing and you never know what could happen. Real quick too, hey Kendra, I think I just noticed. As I was reading through the names, I was trying to read another name, Tom, and I think I called your husband Nate Tom, but just so my apologies, but I didn't see if Nate was in the house or not, so hopefully we'll see him shortly. Moving on to game 2, St. Louis at Las Vegas. Jeff, I've been talking about all season long, Las Vegas home field advantage I think is the best in the SFL. They're undefeated at home. They proved it again last week. What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to lead for a very interesting game here, Dave. So the stories for a couple teams in the league have been the same for a couple weeks overall, so I don't really want to dive too deep here on St. Louis, but how long can their defense carry them? They're 4th in points per game allowed at 20.4 right now, but they have a negative 18 net point, and they're second worst at 17.9 points per game scored. So the defense has really been trying to carry this with that young offense. I do think their wide receivers are starting to stand out. They have 3 of the better rookie wide receivers in the entire league right now. But we got to see Martinez and Vasquez take that step. We're almost at the midway point, and we're running out of time for growth to keep happening. On the other side, you got Las Vegas that's kind of on the up and up now. They had probably one of the worst rushing attacks in the entire league. Right now they have 59.6 yards per game rushing. But Scott Johnson just went off. And the question is, has he arrived? 200 yards, 3 touchdowns. Our own Tom Robbins is going to be sitting here, and he's got to be feeling good about that because he's really had to carry the load at quarterback for that team. And I think if they can get a lot more balanced, they're in the right place with a lot of these 3 and 4 teams to be able to strike and turn it around. And being at home, this is a big-time game. They're going to have to overcome a tough defense, but if they're balanced, I think this is a big one for them.
Yeah, I like St. Louis a lot. I have a lot of friends there. I think they've been playing really well. Based on the playoffs situation that Jack's data put out on Tuesday, they've moved up to 9th. I just don't know if they have enough to go into what I feel is the toughest place to play in the SFL in Las Vegas and have a victory. Jack's data, I think, feels the same way. They've got Las Vegas favored by 7 with an over-under of 48.5. And who you got overwhelmingly for Las Vegas, 102-47. So I think a lot of us are on the same page for this game, possibly. Moving on to your third game on Saturday. Portland. 2 weeks ago, got their first W. Last week, fell back in the loss column. Vancouver took a tough loss on Monday night, Thomas, but they're playing back at home. So how do you see this game going?
Honestly, this for me would be kind of a toss-up game. Vancouver's coming off a tough loss last week against Louisiana. And Portland, after getting that win, obviously they had a rough loss last week against Mexico City. But I think there might be a little bit of an advantage here for Portland because you look at Vancouver, and they're actually one of the lowest scoring teams in the league. Through 7 weeks, they've only put up 155 points. And I think for Portland, that could be an advantage for them. They're a team that hasn't been putting up a lot of points, but going up against another team that's not putting up a lot of points. And the last couple of weeks, Vancouver's been showing just a little bit that they can lose games, that they can lose at home. And I think this is one where Portland could possibly come out there and shock a lot of people and win this game and add another one to the win column there. Like I said, I think it's going to be a back and forth game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout from either side. I think it's just going to be down to the wire, and I could see Portland winning this by 3 at the end of it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jack's data completely disagrees with you. They have Vancouver favored by 13.5, so almost 2 touchdowns, over under 47.5. But again, by nearly 100 votes, SFL Nation, we have chosen Vancouver over Portland in the Who You Got, 123-24. So Jack's data and SFL peeps not on the same page as Thomas. We'll see how that comes out this Saturday. Rounding out Saturday's games this week, Chicago at Jacksonville. Tom Rahman, Chicago been slipping the last few weeks. Jacksonville seems to be on the up. What do you think?
Chicago comes into Jacksonville at 4-3 with only 1 win on the road. Jacksonville is at 5-2, and they have not lost at home this season. And their win streak goes all the way back to Week 6 last season versus Sioux Falls.
Wow.
E.T. King for Chicago comes in with 14 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and the 3rd fewest passing yards in the SFL. That's going to have to change if Chicago plans on winning on the road. Replacing running back is Robert Johnson, who in the last 2 games has only put up 65 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. He's going to have to perform better if they want to win. Chicago's defense has really been the strength of the team, allowing only 141 points, which is the 2nd fewest in the league. And they do boast net positive between points for and against of 27. So look for their defense to really anchor them and try to pull this win out. On the other side...
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, Tom, go ahead. I was just agreeing with you. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, on the other side of the ball, you have Christian Christensen. He's gonna look to spread it out. He's done a good job of that this season, putting the ball in each of the receivers' hands. In the backfield is Jared Willis. He's a 3rd leading rusher in yards, and he has 7 touchdowns. They're going to utilize him highly in this game.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stats right here in front of me, and it's weird that Chicago is passing for the same amount of yards on the road that Jacksonville is at home. But I think, these are averages, so you're taking in some of the games Jacksonville had at the beginning of the season. I mean, last week they just dropped 40 on Atlanta in Atlanta, so I think Jacksonville is for real right now. Jack's data has Jax favored by 7.5. With an over-under of 48.5. Again, for the 3rd game in a row, overwhelmingly, 120 to only 25 votes. Who you got? The SFL Nation, Jacksonville, overwhelmingly. I mean, these games don't seem to be, or at least the SFL Nation does not think these games are as close as maybe we think of them. Before I go on to Sunday's games, I just want to remind everybody, or let everybody know in the chat, Winkler was not available tonight. He had some stuff going on. Eagle is actually producing the show tonight. So for the Axis After Dark portion, if you have questions for Tom and Ray, at Eagle, and so he can get you into the green room, or if you type them into the chat, we can read them to him. So make sure you add Eagle so we can get all your guys' questions and comments about Tom and Ray's expansion bid. Get all that covered tonight. Moving into Sunday, I just talked about Atlanta. They're traveling Arizona. Both teams are 3-4. It seems like just yesterday, Frank, that Arizona was 3-1 on top of the world, and we were singing Eddie Gage's praises. And now they're 3-4. And Atlanta, the defending champs, are 3-4. What's going on with these two teams?
Well, you know what happened, Dave? I jinked Arizona because I said I can't. I was picking against him, and he was winning, and I said I can't pick against him anymore. Now he's lost. So,
So it's your
uh,
fault.
yeah, he can
Okay.
blame me. It's
There you go. Eddie
my
Gage.
bad.
Eddie Gage is in the chat. He's in the house. So Eddie Gage, there you go. You've got your scapegoat. It's Frank.
Eddie, I truly apologize. Atlanta is 0-3 on the road and 3-1 at home, with their only loss coming last week against a good Jacksonville team. Arizona is 2-1 at home. Had a little stumble against Charleston, and they are 1-3 on the road. Atlanta brings its third-rated offense into Arizona to take on Eddie Gage and his 12th ranked defense. Bryant Dynasty, top candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year with the number one QBR at 100.5, leads the league in yards with 2,427. But the question has been all year, where is BDG Hollywood? He is 20th in rushing with 377 yards and only 3 touchdowns. That's just 2 more touchdowns than John Trusman from Portland, who just scored his first one last week. And I got to tell him congratulations for finally finding that end zone. Siege Falco is 9th overall with 622 yards and 4 TDs. His teammate Boo Chisholm is 13th overall with 597 yards and 3 touchdowns. Second in the league in tackles with 80 is Aaron Lee, and Aquanta Shine is 5th with 75. Ashley Jackson has done well with the short passing game, 81.8 QBR. That is good for 14th overall. She's 13th overall in yardage with 1,700, just over 1,700 yards. The problem is when she has to throw the ball deep, or if she feels like she has to make a play to make something happen. Last week, they lose DJ Moses, who is the 4th overall in rushing with 830 and 6 touchdowns. He went down last week, and after that, Jackson struggled, throwing 4 interceptions after he went down. Moses will be back and be ready to go this week and help the offense out. Eddie Gage is tied for 7th with 6 interceptions, and linebacker BJ Loveless always finds his way to the football. Well, will that be enough to control Dynasty? Teams have stopped Hollywood, but Dynasty is starting to hurt teams. So now what is Eddie going to do? Is he going to try to balance it out or keep bottling up BDG Hollywood? It's going to be neat to see what he comes up with.
You know, it's interesting. I'm looking at the graphic right now, and I see on the stats Atlanta's averaging as many yards on the road as Arizona is at home total, but the big difference I see is passing versus rushing. Dynasty is definitely starting to take over this offense, I think. The fact that Atlanta is only averaging 72 yards a game on the road really goes to what you're talking about, BDG and him not getting the ball enough, etc. Jack's data has Arizona favored by 3 at home, over under a 51.5. And the who you got, though, a little closer, 83-68 in favor of Atlanta on the road. So we'll see how that goes if that closes up a little bit before this weekend. Moving on to the second game on Sunday. Here's the thing, all right? I know that this is a Texas game. I know it's the I-35 thing. I know that we beat Fort Worth in the first game at home, so I know that Fort Worth is going to have the edge in this game. However, I feel like Lone Star played a really good game on the road at Sioux Falls last week, Jeff. So how do you see this game going down?
Yeah, Dave, this is it's the I-35, and it was a pretty good game last time. I see it being a good game this time. It's really going to come down to really 2 big factors. So I think for Lone Star, it's can we string 4 quarters of great ball together? We see flashes where it's Lone Star just looks like, okay, that's a top 10 team, top 2 team. And then something happens, and it's just, I don't know if it's the luck of the draw or what it is, a young team. It's just all over the place sometimes. So if we can get the 4 quarters of great ball, I think this team's better than what the record shows. They had a really close game against Sioux Falls, but again, they had to really battle in that one. So does the team take it as a moral victory, or is that just another string of letdowns as the team kind of get down on themselves? I think how they're going to react to that one and come out in this one's going to be really big. Been harping on it for a while now. It's a young offense. I really want to see McBride turn the corner. Again, I'm thinking the halfway point here that we really need to see some of these young people really show what they can do for the teams this year. They may be great future talents, and there's nothing to take away from them, but a lot of these young guys really need to step up here in the next week or two to really help differentiate these 3 and 4 teams. Heading over to Fort Worth. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, just on the 3 and 4 teams. I think I looked today, and I think there's like 13 or 14 teams at 3 and 4, some ridiculous number like that.
Everybody's in it right now, Dave, and that's
It-
the crazy thing. Like,
it's-
no locker room should be down on themselves right now. Everybody is in this still.
It's unbelievable. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, and it just comes over to looking at Fort Worth. Their last game, defensive battle, maybe a boring game for some. I found it a very enjoyable one to watch. We really got to see their youth at safety show up. We had Ben Stone with a really great play. Delaney Nash has been playing great all year back there for them. They're really kind of the young guys on the defensive side of the ball, so it's fun to see them coming into their own. On the flip side for that team at 3-4, another team that could be better than their record, but it's the veterans. Where's Jason Williams? Where's Xander Gold? Their numbers, their names aren't as high on the rankings as I think they should be, for as well ranked as veterans as they are. So I really think they need to start stepping up and try to carry a little bit of that youth, and see if the vets can continue to help push them past it. This is going to be, a really balanced game. I think Fort Worth gets the nod because they're at home, but I think it's the team that shows the most consistency. I think the team that puts together the most consistent 4 quarters can win this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think both of these teams have been inconsistent, big time. I-35 shootout, though. I'm telling you, we love having the trophy, and I would love to hang on to it. Jack's data actually has Fort Worth favored by 7 with an over-under of only 45.5. Here's the thing, though. SFL Nation, no faith in Lone Star 2 weeks in a row. After like 3 weeks in a row, we were the closest. Who you got? 108 to only 42 in favor of Fort Worth. So definitely people taking the home team here in the I-35 shootout, second edition. Moving on to the middle game on Sunday. Baltimore 5-2. Mexico City, like I said in my monologue, Mexico City 5-2 is a surprise. We talked about them in the offseason after the draft. We talked about them at the beginning of the season. I don't think anybody, Thomas, thought that Mexico City would be 5-2 at this point.
I completely agree with you, Dave. I don't think anybody saw Mexico City here. With Baltimore, obviously, everybody's kind of used to seeing Baltimore at the top of the pack. So I want to go back to last week. Both of these teams coming off of huge wins at home, but then you look down the line of the stats, and both of these teams seem to be performing a lot better at home. I think the home field advantage is going to play a big part in this game. We're going to see a big performance from Phoenix Jones. We're going to see a big performance from Mike Daggs in that whole passing game. I just think Mexico City is going to put up too much offense for Baltimore to keep up with, and I could see Mexico City winning this by maybe like a lower 2 possessions, maybe by 10 points. But it's going to be a fun game to watch for sure.
I'm surprised that you said that. And you know what, though? I guess Mexico City's just going to have to keep surprising me because I think Baltimore's a solid team. They had some secondary issues at the beginning of the season that seem to they've kind of taken care of that. I mean, they're literally technically tied for second place. Then so is Mexico City, but I guess maybe the edge here is Mexico City playing at home, Thomas, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think home field is going to play the biggest part in this.
Yeah. Mexico City is favored by 3.5, so Jack's data agrees with you. Over under, the highest one of the weekend, 63.5 points they're expecting between these two teams. SFL Nation doesn't agree with you, Thomas. 85-61 in favor of Baltimore, which is not a huge gap, but it's a big enough gap, I think, that SFL Nation thinks Baltimore's going to win this game. Here's an interesting game. 2 more 3-4 teams, which, I mean, we're just loaded with 3-4 teams tonight on this. Tulsa, up and down. Florida, up and down, Tom Rahman. I was saying in the monologue, I don't even know what to think of this game. I don't even know who to take in this game. What do you think about this?
Well, when Tulsa comes to Florida, you're going to see Ron Cochran and Deacon Nickens flinging the ball all over the field. Florida has one of the best receiving cores in the league with Bush, Klein, Como, and Minson. They're going to have to sling it often to get the win. With J.W. Doyle in the backfield, he's not producing a whole lot. So we're gonna see Ron Cochran really pushing the ball down the field. On the other side, we've got Gabriel Manning, who's just been shredding teams with his kick returns and deep passes. So I do think that Florida, after a road loss, is one of the most dangerous things in the league. We're going to see Florida, I'd say, with a lead of 2 to 3 scores, take the game.
Yeah, So you mentioned Gabriel Manning. He was a Diva of the Week nominee this week. I think somebody mentioned Ben Stone already. He's also a Diva of the Week nominee this week. So we've got a few of them, which we'll find out after Gunny's Pearls of Wisdom in just a bit. But we talked earlier on that we thought Gabriel Manning was a one man show, but then the game that Gabriel Manning got hurt, I think Tulsa won, and so they obviously not a one man show. Deacon Nickens had a great game. I think it was last week. Um, Again, I think Florida and Tulsa both they need to get their running games going. I think they're both lacking in the rushing department. Jack's data thinks Florida is going to win by 6.5, so they've got Florida by nearly a touchdown. Over under a 48.5. And again, SFL Nation, man, we don't give any love to underdogs or anything. 116-35. Again, another huge gap for a home team. Florida 116-35 in the who you got. Moving on to the last game on Sunday. London coming off a huge victory, Frank. Carolina again up and down, another 3-4 team. But London coming off a victory and gets to play at home again. Do they pull two in a row off, Frank, you think?
Well, the party's still going on in London, baby. The good news is their game is at home. The bad news is they might be suffering from a hangover. I hope this is not the case. Sully Richardson is 6th overall in yardage with 2,167 yards passing and 12th overall in QBR at 86. He's thrown 10 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. Richardson leads the 7th-rate passing attack against interception leader Jack Russell with 8, and Nathan Blake tied at 7th with 6. Logan Jack is 2 yards ahead of BGG Hollywood with 379 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. 17th ranked Heath McDaniel leads the team in receiving yards with 566 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. Carolina has the 4th rated defense overall, but they struggle against the run, giving up 105 yards per game. Tristan Hatley and Davidson Joseph lead the team with 2 interceptions each. Hatley also leads the team in tackles with 57. Robert Merrill only carried the ball 7 times last week, but it was enough for 73 yards and 2 touchdowns. He is 15th overall with 427 yards and 5 touchdowns, again with 2 of those coming this past weekend. The slinging Scotsman, Angus McLean, is 9th overall with just over 1,900 yards and 16th overall in QBR with 77.7. He's throwing 11 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. That's the key issue right there. Vin Kalia is 3rd overall in wide receiver yards with 659 and 3 touchdowns. And not Benji Matson, but Dayton Rhodes is 8th overall for tight ends with 330 yards and 3 touchdowns. Benji was not even targeted last week, and Benji's got to be probably the sexiest sounding tight end in the league.
Are you taking yourself out of that equation, Frank?
Well, he says I'm the best looking one, so I'm giving him a shout out.
There you go.
London's losses have come against 6-1 Louisiana, 5-2 Mexico City. At the time, 3-1 Chicago before the winds of change hit. 6-1 Denver, defending champions Atlanta, and then Arizona. They lost to Tulsa in week 1, but you had the Manning show with 380 total yards for him, while London had 339 total yards. Will London build on this win? I hope so. Their defense is starting to pick up steam. The receiving core is getting recognition, but they are facing the 4th best pass defense in Carolina.
I got to tell you, Carolina needs to get their rushing game going a little bit. They're only averaging 50 yards a game on the road, which is not great. I actually can see London taking the momentum from last week's victory and upsetting and surprising Carolina, so we'll see how that goes. Oh, look at that. Jack's data agrees. They have London favored by 3. I wonder if that's the first time London's been favored all season. That'd be interesting to look back and check. They've got over-under at 51.5, which is about middle of the road. Overwhelmingly, again, I get tired of using that word in the who you got. But SFL Nation doesn't think so. They've got Carolina 102-49 over Louisiana. More than double the votes. I don't know. I guess I just don't see things the way we're seeing them right now. Moving on to Monday night. The first game on Monday night, Sioux Falls, like I said, 5-2, came off of a crazy game victory against Lone Star, playing at Queen City, who personally, Jeff, I'm surprised to see Queen City at 3-4. What about you?
Yeah, I mean that's what we talk about every week with Queen City is when is this team going to kind of come into its identity, which is not something you typically think you have to say with an established franchise like this, but it's certainly a concern because they're going up against Sioux Falls. What's the story every week? It's Colin Hart's going to keep doing what Colin Hart does. He's second to only Reggie Streeter in yards. The scary part about this is he's averaging around 7 yards per carry. So for you guys that aren't so great at math, if they get the ball around the 20-25 on a kickoff, Colin Hart touches it 10 to 11 times on one drive, he's in the end zone. He's literally eating up yards like it's nothing for a running back, which is just absolutely amazing. The fear for that should be in Queen City because they are allowing the fourth most rushing yards allowed in the league right now at 116.7 yards per game. So obviously that's an area where you want to attack the weakness of a team when you're on the road, and I think Sioux Falls is set up to do that. Unfortunately for Sioux Falls, they seem to move the ball either very quickly or get the ball back very quickly because they are run-oriented. Because they have a middle-of-the-road defense that really could benefit from eating up the clock a little bit more. On Queen City side, it's just consistency. I mean, when you're looking at these 3 and 4 teams, it's the same thing, and I don't mean to harp on consistency as a key word here. You guys could probably take a shot for every time I've said it, but that's what we're looking at with 3 and 4 is we got Queen City who beat Jacksonville 38-17, but lost to Tulsa 38-16. Who is Queen City in 2020? I don't know, and for that reason, this game is, I think, their make or break for the season. A loss here could really do some damage to them. A win would really stabilize their ship.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Jet Zero either, to be honest with you. There's a lot of these fullbacks that have moved to running back that seem to maybe they need a season. I think Doyle's one, Phoenix Jones, Jet Zero. I think there's a couple more. I think maybe they just need a season to kind of build up their halfback game or something because we're not seeing a lot of success from players who moved from fullback to running back this season. Sioux Falls is favored by 3.5, according to Jack's data, with an over/under of 51.5, which again is middle of the road. 98-58 though. SFL Nation and the Who You Got 98-58. For Sioux Falls on the road against Queen City. So a lot of teams thinking Sioux Falls is still for real, up there near the top of the pack at 5-2. The last game of the week, which I also think is the game of the week. It's also the crowd play game of the week. Here's the thing, Jeremy. Are you guys for real? I know you're 6-1, but a lot of people talking about both you and Louisiana at 6-1. We debated it. Who's the better team? Based on schedule. Both have had a few easier games, according to some people. I think this is the game going into Charleston. Charleston playing better. Denver. I'll tell you what, Jeremy, I'll make you a deal. If you guys beat Charleston on the road this week, on Tuesday, I'll say you're for real. That'll make you happy in the chat. Thomas, what do you think about all that?
I'll tell you what, Dave, I want to start this out with a question.
Okay.
When you go to that website and you go to the standings, what team is number 1 in the standings?
Well, it's because it's alphabetical order, bro.
No, it's not. It actually goes by points. But
is it?
It is.
Okay. So, wait, when you say by points, you mean point differential?
0.4 and point differential.
Okay.
They have both.
Okay. So Denver has a better point differential and more points than Louisiana is what you're trying to tell me?
Oh, I'm telling you, they've got more points scored and a better point differential.
Yeah, I'm looking at net points. Net points, Denver 96, Louisiana 82. But here's the funny thing. The next team on that list is Baltimore. They're all the way down at 40. So it's definitely these two teams are the cream of the crop right now.
Yep. Well, but which team's at that number 1 slot, though?
I don't know. I don't know. I took my glasses off. I can't read it anymore.
All right, Dave. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. The best team in the league is coming into this game, the crowd play game of the week. It's going to be a great game, believe me. Between Denver and Charleston, you know it's going to be a great game between these two storied franchises. But Denver's going to show up. I know JV's been listening to all of the chatter all week long.
Yeah, he has.
He's going to be pissed, and he's going to want this game so bad. I could see Denver winning this game by 2 possessions. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch, but I think JV is going to be pissed and he's going to come out and he's going to do everything in his power. He's going to do 200 to 300 sims this week just to make sure they win this game. and I got Denver by 14.
Denver by 14. Well, let's see. Here's what you know. Here's how much you know, Thomas. The experts at Jack's Data have this game as a pick'em. Not 2 touchdowns, a pick'em. With an over-under of 57.5, which is like, I think the second or third highest for the week. Jack's Data, or I'm sorry, who you got? SFL Nation, 112 to 45 has Denver. So, more than half the people think that Denver's going to go into Charleston and take care of business. So we'll see. I'll see if I can. If Denver wins this game, I'm going to see if I can get Jeremy on the show next week just so he can finally speak his piece, because I know he's been in the chat almost every show questioning what we've been saying about Denver. So, Jeremy, if you guys win, you need to be on the show next week. And I see you were just in the chat. I see you right there. All right. So, there's your Week 8 previews. We're going to go – let me see. Is Gunny – where's Gunny at? Looks like Gunny's still – there he is, right there. Okay, hold on. Let me pull Gunny into the show. Gunny, are you able to hear me? Well, maybe not. Nope, Gunny can't hear me. If he can't hear me, I think we'll move on to something else. But I'll give him a second. Maybe we'll do Diva of the Week first instead. Gunny, any chance you can hear me yet? No. Okay. All right. So we'll do Gunny's Pearls of Wisdom next. We'll move on to Diva of the Week. So, according to your voting, and quite possibly, and I have to double check with Eagle and Wink, I think this was the closest, other than the tie that we had to have a couple weeks ago, the vote off. I believe this is the closest, and only by 1 vote, if I'm not mistaken, Diva of the Week winner. So your Diva of the Week winner for Week 8 is, I don't know if you guys are looking at your screen, but it is Jack Russell, strong safety from London, and Jack happens to be in the house. He just popped in. So, oh, look at Jeff. Jeff's happy. I could see him in the chat. Jack, go ahead and unmute yourself. Let me know, how do you feel about being chosen Week 8 Diva of the Week?
I'm ecstatic. It's an honor.
Well, no, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's an honor. It's been a tough season for us, the start we got off to, and we just wanted to make sure we stayed together as a team, no matter what happens, no matter how we finish. And our goal was to turn it around. So this past week is definitely, it's been very, very rewarding.
Yeah,
all the hard work we put in.
Yeah, coming off your first victory, you had 6 tackles, 2 assists, 3 pass deflections, and 2 interceptions to give you 8 overall. Tied for the lead in the entire SFL. Did you know that you're tied for first in interceptions in the entire league?
I took a peek at it the other day. I didn't know up to that point, so it was a surprise. I was like, it was like, wow. But like I said, the goal though is to help the team win the games. So, well, anything I can do to contribute.
Yeah, well, I mean, you definitely contributed, and you've been contributing all season. So congratulations to you being Diva of the Week for Week 8 on Access Live. And you're going to stick around and do the pick'ems with us, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. Let me check and see if Gunny's available yet before we go into the pick'ems. Perfect, Gunny. I think I'm ready to go whenever you are, actually.
All right. Good evening, SFL. See, just a little bit of history about how big the league has grown in just the past 3 seasons. In season 13, there was 21 teams, but only 12 people per team, so that made 262 players. Season 14 went up to 20 teams, 17 players each, 340 players. And now season 15, 22 teams, 20 players each for 440 players. If my math is correct, and I'm not very good at math, that is a growth of 59.5% between season 13 to now. This week coming up, we have 13 teams with a record of 3-4. 4 of those matchups are head-to-head matchups. Lone Star Fort Worth, Tulsa at Florida, Atlanta at Arizona, and St. Louis at Las Vegas. So maybe it'll clear up the playoff scenario just a little bit. Also, I had a conversation with Cameron Irvin this afternoon. Everything seems good to go on the military bowl that might be playing around Veterans Day. I will be getting with GMs and teams to get some rosters set up. Everyone have a great weekend of games, and that is all.
All right, Gunny, thank you so much. I actually can't wait for that game either, so looking forward to that thing being organized. We're going to move into the pick'ems. Here's the thing. I'm going to go, but I think, what is this, week 8? I think in week 10, I will give you guys an update on how everybody's been doing on the pick'ems. I need to go back and add them all up, and I want to see just how good the panelists have been doing versus Jack's data and versus the Who You Got. So look for that in a couple weeks. In the meantime, Frank, you're going to be the first one on these rounds. Louisiana at Houston on Saturday. Who you got?
I'm going to go. This is a hard one. I tell you, it's going to be a close game. But I'm going to go with Louisiana until Houston proves me different.
Okay. Jeff, what about you?
Upset of the week, Houston. Johnny, I'll be waiting for the inbox DM on that one.
Wow. Upset of the week. Okay. Thomas?
Houston by 7. I could see Houston winning this game at home.
Okay. Wow. That's 2. Tom Rahman, who you got in this game? Tom Rahman, you're muted, bro. Tom Rahman going once. Tom Rahman going twice. Tom Rahman, I will come back to you. Jack, are you with us still?
I'm here.
Who you got in the first game this week? Louisiana at Houston.
I'm going to go with Louisiana and Reggie Streeter.
Okay, good call. And then Gunny, who you got? Louisiana, Houston.
The Revolution.
The Revolution. Okay, Rahman, you back with us?
Yeah, you got me?
Yep, gotcha. Who you got? Louisiana at Houston.
I've got Louisiana on the road.
Louisiana on the road. Okay, game 2 on Saturday, St. Louis at Vegas. Frank.
Oh, Vegas.
Vegas. Yeah, Vegas at home is hard to bet against. Jeff?
Vegas.
Thomas?
Can't pick against Vegas at home. Vegas by 10.
Yeah. Tom Rahman?
You never bet against the house.
There you go. Jack?
I'm going with Vegas.
There you go. And Gunny, you going to make it a clean sweep?
I am. Las Vegas.
There you go. I'm telling you, really hard to bet against them or pick against them when they're playing at home. Portland at Vancouver, Frank. Frank?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Okay, I'm going with Vancouver. I think they bounce back.
Okay. Jeff?
Vancouver as well.
Vancouver as well. Thomas?
I think Portland pulls it out in a close one.
Ooh, look at that. 2 out of 3, huh? Rahman?
I think it's a really close game, but Vancouver takes it at home.
Vancouver. Jack, who you got on this game?
I got it in Vancouver at home.
Vancouver at home. And Gunny?
Same thing, Vancouver at home.
Okay. Thomas, you seem to pick like the only team a lot of the times. Wrapping up Saturday, Chicago at Jacksonville. Frank?
Jacksonville at home.
Jacksonville at home. Jeff?
Jacksonville by a lot, I think.
Jacksonville by a lot. Well, they put 40 on Atlanta, so who knows. Thomas?
Jacksonville for sure.
And Rahman?
I want to see Chicago bounce back, but I don't think they do it this week.
Okay. Jack?
I'm going to pick Chicago this time.
Really? Why?
I don't know. It's called a hunch, I guess. I got a feeling about it.
You think they're going to get out of that losing streak, huh? Gunny, what about you?
Jacksonville again at home.
Jacksonville again at home. Okay. Moving on to Sunday, we've got Atlanta at Arizona, Frank.
Eddie, I'm going to do you a favor, and I'm going to pick Atlanta.
Jeff?
What up, Doe? I got Arizona.
Oh, here we go. Thomas?
I can't pick against Eddie G at home. I think he gets it back on track and wins by 10 against Atlanta.
Okay, Ramen, what about you?
The stars align and the Scorpions win it.
Wow, what's going on? This is okay, Jack. What about you? Atlanta at Arizona.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go with Arizona at home.
Arizona at home, and then Gunny.
My hometown team, the Atlanta Swarm.
Of course. I'd have to say if Denver wasn't playing Charleston, I might have picked this as my game of the week. Second game on Sunday, Lone Star at Fort Worth, the I-35 shootout. Frank, who's taking home the trophy this week?
I'm back with you guys. I'm with Lone Star.
All right, good to hear. Jeff?
Dave missed his payment, so I got to go with Fort Worth.
Dude, Thomas?
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave. The Lone Star offense isn't as weak as that St. Louis offense. They're not going to hold us to 0 points. The Lone Star by 7.
Hey-yo. Ramen, what about you?
Lone Star on the road.
There you go. Jack, who you got in this game?
I'll pick Fort Worth.
Fort Worth. Did you just say that because everybody else was picking Lone Star? No, I'm just playing.
No, I think they got the home field advantage in this one.
Okay.
Usually the local rivalries, it goes that way.
Yeah, I hear you. Gunny, what about you?
Red, white, and blue.
There you go. Like I even needed to ask. I love having all these Lone Star people on the panel every week. Baltimore and Mexico City, Frank.
I'm gonna go with Mexico City.
Mexico City at home. Okay, Jeff.
Louisiana, Denver. I'm telling you, said it since week 1. Don't sleep on Baltimore. I got Baltimore.
Okay, Thomas.
I've got Mexico City.
Okay. Ramen.
Mexico City is dangerous in the last half of the season. I take them at home.
Okay. Jack, who do you got in this game?
I got Baltimore at home.
Okay. Oh, actually, Baltimore. Let me double check. Baltimore at Mexico City. Mexico City's at home.
Oh, Mexico City's at home. I'm picking Mexico City.
Okay. Gunny?
El Azteca will win.
Okay. Wow. Only one person chose Baltimore. I expected that to be a little more even. Tulsa at Florida. Again, to me, this is the most confusing game of the week, Frank.
Yes, it is, and I've been back and forth. I think Florida rebounds. I think they're gonna pull it out at home.
Okay. And then Jeff.
Don't even bother bringing out the defense. It's going to be a shootout, and Florida wins it.
Okay. Thomas?
I'm going to say Tulsa by 3 in a shootout.
In a shootout. Everybody's saying shootout. Let me see. Double check this over under real quick. Tulsa, Florida. 48.5. That was about in the middle. Not a lot of points. You said Florida. I'm sorry, Thomas, right?
I said Tulsa.
Or Tulsa. Okay, Ramen?
Y'all are saying shootout. I'm calling this an interception bowl, but Florida wins it.
Yeah, I think that's more along the lines of it. Jack, what about you?
I got Tulsa on a Gabe Manning return.
There you go. Yeah, man, shoot, he already has 4 of them this season. Gunny, Tulsa, Florida, bro.
Florida.
Okay. Real quick, as we're doing this, as another reminder, make sure you add Eagle in the chat if you have questions or comments for Tom and Ray getting ready to come on as soon as we finish the pick'ems in the After Dark portion to talk about their expansion bid, the LA Lycans. Let's see. Carolina at London, the last game of Sunday. Frank.
Another tough one for me. I think London's party is over. I think Carolina pulls this out.
You think their party is over? Come on, bro. They only had one night to party.
Just for this week.
Okay, all right. All right. So you said, I'm sorry. So look at it. You said something about party. I started writing London down already. Hold on a second. Carolina. You said party. I figured they were still partying, so I just wrote them down. Jeff, what about you?
Objectively, I don't think London ever loses another game, so I got London in this one.
Objectively, that's perfect. Thomas.
Keep an eye on Harish Watch because they got the dangerous Jack
Ooh.
Russell roving. That's secondary. I've got London.
Oh, hey, does Thomas, real quick, does Harish get hurt this week? Is this streak over?
I don't know. I think it's going to be close. I think Jack's going to get a couple big hits on him. We might see it end.
Oh, Jack Russell going to take out Harish. That's going to be front page news. Ramen, what do you think about this game?
I think we're going to get one of those elusive Carolina road wins, boys.
Okay. Jack, you guys going to take care of home field?
Oh, I never go against my team. I always believe in this.
There you go. Gunny, what about you?
Harish is not going to get injured at all this year, but London's going to win at home.
Ooh, good call. All right. The Monday night game, Sioux Falls at Queen City. Frank.
I'm going with Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls on the road. Jeff.
Sioux Falls in a close one.
Okay. Thomas.
I think Sioux Falls wins this pretty well.
Ramen.
Sioux Falls.
And Jack.
Sioux Falls.
Uh-oh, Gunny, are you going to make this the first unanimous game?
I am the Sparrows.
Oh, yeah, of course, you never pick against them, even when they're playing Lone Star. I forgot about that.
That's true.
Because he picks Sioux Falls to win the whole thing, so he can't pick them to lose any games, apparently. All right, game of the week, crowd play game of the week, and to see if Jeremy Vega will come on the show next week. Denver at Charleston, Frank.
I think this is going to be a better crowd play game this week. I'm going to go with Denver.
Denver on the road. Okay. Jeff?
I got to take Denver, but it wouldn't shock me if Charleston pulls this off.
Yeah, I agree with that. Thomas?
Can't pick against the best team in the league, Denver.
Ramen?
I think this will be one of the best games this week when we see Denver win on the road.
Yeah, it's definitely the game of the week for me. Jack?
After that baptism by fire they gave us, I got to pick Denver.
Okay. And Gunny, 2 unanimous in a row?
No, I'm going with Charleston.
Ooh, attaboy,
But I
Gunny.
still want Jeremy Vega on the show next week.
Because you still want him on the show whether he wins or loses? I think if he loses...
I want Vega on the show regardless of whether he wins or loses.
Okay, well, you're going to have to talk him into it. If they lose, I don't know if Jeremy will come on the show or not. I'm sure he'll come on if they win, but I guess we'll have to ask him and see. He's in the chat right now, so maybe he'll answer me. All right, that's the pick'ems. Out of 11 games this week, we only had one game go unanimous, and that was Sioux Falls over Queen City. A couple we had where people just picked one, but only one unanimous for the entire time. Okay, moving into the After Dark portion of the show. I told all of you guys we have several team expansion bids that are going to be coming in into the SFL for season 16. One of those is led by Tom Rahman and Rochelle Colston, more known as Ray Ray in the Gen Chat. And I've asked them to come on. Actually, I think they may have even asked to come on to tell you guys about their bid, about their team. So I'm gonna ask Tom to start and just kind of give us an overview of your team. Like, why'd you pick LA? Why'd you pick the Lycans name? Why'd you even decide to bid for an SFL franchise, Tom?
Well, last season when expansion was announced, that was the first time when I thought about putting in a bid for expansion. But I thought about it, and it really wasn't something I wanted to do by myself. And I also got the chance to join the support staff team and help out with rosters. So I always knew there would be expansion in the future, and I wanted to follow that path at that point. And then when I found somebody that was had the same type of passion and drive that I did for the league, then I go back in and get that expansion put in.
Okay, and you're speaking of Rochelle Colson, who's on with us as well. Rochelle, how are you doing tonight? Oh, you're muted. There you go.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. So, Rochelle, tell us, why'd you decide to get involved in this expansion bid with Tom?
Well, I knew I always wanted to own a team. It's just more about timing. And me and Tom have worked together so closely on stats and support staff that we get along really well and work really well together. I'm sorry, I have a cold.
Oh, you know what? I've got a little bit going on too, Rochelle. So we'll share it. Good thing we're 6 feet apart, though, huh?
No kidding.
So Tom, tell me why Los Angeles? Do you live in Southern California, right, or no?
No, I actually live in Northern California now, but I spent a large portion of my life in Southern California. I lived in Los Angeles, Huntington Beach, San Fernando Valley. So, that's kind of my second home. And Los Angeles is a huge market. There's tons of potential. And I think historically they've had a hard time really gelling with an NFL team. And so I want to see how a simulation football team will do in the area.
That's good. Rochelle, where are you from?
New Orleans, Louisiana.
New Orleans. Okay. Um, how do you feel about the team being in Los Angeles?
LA, Louisiana. That's the abbreviation, but I'm
Oh,
okay with
there you
it.
go. So you're LA either way. There you go. Way to cover your bases there, girl. Um, let me ask. Actually, real quick. Somebody put in the chat. I think it was Kendra. Was asking what is an expansion bid and how does that work. Tom, did you want to tackle that, or do you want me to answer it for her?
I can answer. When
Okay.
the league decides that it's ready to expand and add new teams to the league because rosters have gotten so full, they will announce that one or more expansion slots will be made available. At that time, potential owners, people who want to have an SFL franchise, can submit their application and put their ideas out there, and the owners, one vote, I believe, for every, or one person from every ownership group or singular owner votes on their top choices for expansion. And then those are announced during the championship game along with the new expansion team's logos and branding.
Okay. Um, Rochelle, why the name Lycans? Now, I think if I'm not mistaken, I saw werewolves first. If I'm not, is that right? Did I see werewolves and then you guys changed it to Lycans? Is that right?
Yes.
So why the change?
It kind of satisfies our D&D nerdy side, and
Okay.
they're very powerful beasts.
Okay. Which you guys are hoping to be in the SFL, obviously.
Of course.
The
Um,
most powerful.
the most powerful. So, was werewolves and Lycans the only two names that you guys came up with, or were there other names in consideration?
That was it.
Yeah, one thing we did is we went through and looked at all the logos that were available still,
Mm-hmm.
and based on what was remaining, we came up with what we liked the best. Now, in the game itself, there's the default name is the werewolves for the logo,
Oh, okay.
so that's why we started off with that, just as kind of brainstorming. And I believe it was Bryant Dynasty who suggested to me that we go with Los Angeles Lycans because it sounds better,
Yeah, it
rolls off
flows
the tongue a
better.
little bit better.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
Well, look
I
at
want to give a shout out to him.
yeah, attaboy Dynasty, who's usually in the After Dark portion. I don't know if he's in the chat or not, but Dynasty, if you're in the chat, say what's up. You got a little cred your way from Tom there. Um, let Do you guys know how many other expansion bids there are for season 16 by any chance?
Off the top of my head, I don't. There's a handful. Some of them already are linked to players that we know about, and some of them are not. Some of them have been anonymous announcements,
Okay.
just Twitter accounts that show up and start following people.
Right. Yeah. Actually, I have two of those right now, and I have no idea who either one of them are. So, um, I know a few other expansion teams, but they're like you said, there's a couple coming out of the woodworks that they just pop up, and I have no idea who they are. Tom, since I'm with you still right now, and then I'll go to Ray Ray again. Tell the people listening a little bit what your philosophy is going to be in Los Angeles as an owner, and I'm assuming it's just the two of you that are going to be the owners. Is that correct?
Yes, Rochelle and I will be the ownership group. We've talked a lot about what our team structure is going to be like, what our front office is going to be like, and I think we really want to build out the support structure of the team. People we can depend on, people that have skills with social media and graphics, as well as coaching and scouting, and really build a structure where it's not just us running the team. But then, I would say I'm heavier on the coaching side. Rochelle will get brought up on that, and vice versa. She's been doing GM work for longer and front office stuff, and I'll back her up as well.
Okay. Rochelle, give everybody listening kind of your SFL background. When you started, who you've played with, what you've played, any front office and league positions, that kind of thing.
I signed week 3 of season 13 with Carolina. I was their AGM in season 13. I became their GM in season 14, along with being their DOC. I also did stats, and this year I'm the GM, the DOC, and support staff for the league.
Okay. What's your position on the support staff this season?
progression
Progression.
and website management of those progressions.
Website. Okay. All right. And then Tom, can you do the same? Give everybody your SFL background.
Yeah. I've been with the league since season 11, was following in season 10, and joined on for the following season. Each one of my seasons in the league, I've been on the coaching staff for Vegas. I've served as general manager on the team. I've served as scout, offensive and defensive coordinator, and even head coach. So I've pulled just about every role that you can have on a team. I've submitted playbooks, coaching points, and as Rochelle, I'm now on the support staff where I support Destro with rosters and progression weekly.
Okay. So between the two of you, a lot of experience in a lot of areas that's kind of required to be an owner in this league, it sounds like. There are a couple more questions in the chat. Let me see here. One of them looks like from Dwayne. He's asking, what is the plan for the LA Lycans if the SFL decides not to expand for season 16? Either of you can take that question.
We're putting a lot of time and effort into developing the brand and getting websites. We have Instagram and Twitter accounts, things that are set up and in place so that if there's non-expansion, which we are expecting there to be, or if we don't get the winning bid, I would continue on with my team. I'm assuming Rochelle would do the same, and then we would look for future expansion.
Okay.
It's not. I've been with the league for 2.5 years. It's not something that's going away.
Right. No, it's not. And even if I'm sure we will expand, but even if we don't, I'm sure it'll come up again anyway. Jeremy Vega has an interesting question for you guys. If Rochelle wants to take this, I mean, either one of you can. Or no, actually, Tom, I'm sorry. This is specifically for you. Throughout Rahman's time in the SFL, have the beatdowns from Denver rubbed off on him so much he made his expansion team a shade of blue? Leave it to Jeremy, right?
That's very nice of him to talk about. But but I can say that games against Denver that I have coached, I don't think we've lost a single one.
Oh, there you go, Jeremy. How you like that for an answer? Rochelle, somebody asked. I don't know if you can answer this. I'm not sure if it would be considered tampering or not. So if you don't want to answer it, it's okay. But somebody asked if you could bring one player with you from your current team, who would it be?
Oh, it's my husband.
So forget about tampering. All right.
That was easy.
That was an easy question. Tom, what about you?
My kids, they're not staying behind.
Are you sure? You sure they want to follow you? I don't know. I mean,
so there's been a couple of times where Junior's expressed his interest in maybe branching out and doing something different. But then I straightened it, and we're good.
There you go. Somebody mentioned, Hugo said that you've also helped out with tech issues around the league. Just adding to your resume here. A lot of people asking questions about the squirrel, Tom. I think some people might be disappointed that the squirrel's not in the logo somehow or something.
It's very disappointing, but I promise you he'll be on the team.
He'll be on the team. Some kind of mascot or something, I'm sure. I mean, that's kind of what you're known for, so you're gonna have to institute that somehow. Let me see if there's any more questions in here before I ask you a couple more. Nope, that was Jeremy, Dwayne. Yeah, I got Tom. Somebody said Tom will be a great owner and best of luck getting expansion. Hate to lose him in the Las Vegas locker room. It's just the two of you in ownership. If you guys get your team, and I've noticed that and I've heard just kind of, I don't want to call them rumors, but just scuttlebutt, if you will, about teams that have been starting to take on too many front office personnel, too many GMs, so then they got to do a GM and an assistant, or 2 co-GMs, or they got to bump somebody up to VP, what have you. Do you guys have a structure already set in place that you want to follow, or are you going to wait to see what people you get before you do that? And neither of you can answer that question.
We have a structure in place.
Okay.
We're very detail-oriented people.
Okay.
Almost to a fault.
Yeah.
Do you care to share any of those details with us tonight?
Sure. I will oversee the GM and the DOC, and underneath the DOC will be two statisticians, and that's my front office and me. So
Okay. Tom, what about you?
On my side, you know, fresh out of the gate, obviously there won't be anybody on the team, but I'm looking at bringing in an OC and a DC. Definitely somebody who is going to take that on and can hit the ground running. I've got no problem bringing in scouts to help get up on the game and teach them plays and run sims and everything. But I really want to see two people that have put in the time and the work and who are ready to go.
Okay,
And
good.
then I'll probably, one of us will be head coach just to make sure that playbooks get submitted and roster or coaching points and everything.
Okay. All right. So if you guys are listening, looks like there's some scouting and maybe some potential coordinating positions opening up in Los Angeles if they get their bid. Looks like you might have one vote already, Tom and Rochelle. Jeremy put in the chat, I will legit say that the Los Angeles ownership group of Ramen and Rochelle is one of the most ready owners for expansion and will most likely have my vote. So there's some good positive feedback for you already. Is there anything that you guys would like to add that myself or the crowd hasn't asked that you wanted to share with us tonight before we wrap this up?
Yeah, one thing that we started doing this season was fundraisers. I think it's like a huge thing for a team to put that together. Something that is meaningful to the locker room, and I foresee that being something we do each and every season. We'll along with the locker room, we'll choose a different organization and figure out, if it's just going to be like a straight donation thing or however many yards or touchdowns a person scores. But I know over in Carolina they're doing the same thing. A couple other teams are as well, and I think that's huge. So we'll keep that moving.
Okay, that's good to know. Rochelle, what about you? Anything else you want to add before we wrap this up?
no, I think I've covered everything I wanted to say. So
Okay.
I'm losing my voice, so I'm like,
Yeah, no, trust me, I'm with you. I'm like at the end of my voice right now. I'm like trying to clear my throat while Tom's talking so I can cover it up. Real quick, who said that? Hold on, I gotta find this. I don't know if you guys know about the whole Draft Hugo joke that's been going on since the draft, but somebody asked if the Lycans will draft Hugo. Based on that question, made me think of another question, Jeff or Tom. Sorry, as I'm looking at the screen, I see Jeff's name. You've been around since season 10, is that right?
I joined the league Discord at the end of season 10, but I wasn't a player until I was drafted third in season 11.
Okay, and I know that Cam hates when I talk about this, but as a potential expansion team next season, what are your thoughts on an expansion draft? And you weren't around when they had the expansion drafts back in the day, I don't think. I think that was before season 10. But I'm just wondering because this year was so weird with that supplemental draft. Next season might be a little different. What are your thoughts on an expansion draft?
Well, because of the way the league handles free agency, everybody is available every season.
Mm-hmm.
And a team can really build itself out before even stepping foot on the field. Now, if that ever changes, I think an expansion draft will come into play and be important. But the way the draft has worked for the last, five seasons I've been here, it's been sufficient and I think worked the way that the league wanted it to work.
Yeah, that's the beauty of 1-year contracts or 1-season contracts, right?
If it were any different, then I'd say an expansion team would have a huge disadvantage and come in at a deficit, without having that pool of players to choose from.
Right.
And you asked the question, what players are you bringing across? Each of us has a player. It's not like it would be an empty locker room to start off with.
Right.
So, we talked about husbands and children. So there is already a base there and a plan for what we want to do.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Dags is saying in the chat, he says, expansion draft will literally never happen in this league based on the entire concept of how it exists. Yeah, well, I mean,
Right.
and again, you probably don't need one with the 1-year contracts. I just was wondering if there's ever gonna be any just help, I guess is the best word to say, to an expansion team to help them get started instead of having to go and take players from other teams. But Doug Britton and the SFL minor league players that took other positions that want to go back to their SFL minor position, the expansion team is a great place to start looking. Yeah, that's true too. So I mean, and we bring in 2 expansion teams. We're looking at least 40 more minor league players that will be able to join the SFL. So that'll be great. Let me look here real quick, Tom and Rochelle, before I let you guys go. If there's anything else in here. Nope, I don't see anything else. So with that being said, let me wish you the best of luck. I think you guys sound like you have a solid plan. Sounds like you guys have hit the ground running, and looks like you guys are a little bit ahead of the game. So I want to wish luck to both of you guys, as I'm sure everybody listening wishes you well and wishes you good luck.
Rochelle, do you have anything to say?
Much. No, just thank you for having us.
Yeah, Rochelle and I have to take lozenges, throat lozenges after this show.
I have to put myself on mute to cough.
Dave, I really appreciate the time and the opportunity to come on here and share, what our vision is with everybody. There's a lot of people out there looking to get teams, and those, a lot of those people are worthy, and I'm sure we do a great job, but I think that we'll do the best job.
There you go. And then real quick, before you guys go, social media, in case people want to follow you. I know you guys are on Twitter. Do you have any other social media that you're running right now?
Yeah, you can find us at losangeleslichens.com. We also have Instagram, same thing, Los Angeles Lichens, and Twitter as well.
So everything is Los Angeles Lichens across the board?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, hold on. I think Twitter's SFL Lichens.
I was gonna look too, but I'm already following you guys. So Los Angeles Lichens on Instagram, and then are you checking it right now, or
on Twitter. On Twitter, it's SFL_Lichens.
Okay, there you go. So I'm sure anybody who looks up Los Angeles Lichens in a search will be able to find you guys anyway. So
we also have a website already. So
yeah, you said LosAngelesLichens.com, correct?
Yeah. I drop links in general chat every other night or so.
Okay, perfect.
You guys can find us.
All right, perfect. All right, well, Tom and Ray, thank you so much for coming on the show and telling us about your expansion plans. And Tom, also thank you for being on the show tonight and contributing with the pick'ems and the previews and all that stuff. I appreciate it.
Yeah, as always. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Also, thanks a couple guys. They had to boogie. But a special thanks, as usual, to the Sim Scout Inks guy. We got Frank the Franchise Wade. We got Thomas. Thomas boogied too. And then Jeff Gagne for being with us. Thank you to Gunny, as always. Thanks to Eagle for stepping in for Winkler, producing the show tonight. Thank you to each and every one of you guys in the chat. Hopefully I caught most of you, at least throughout the show or at the beginning when I did shout-outs. Thanks for supporting the show and thanks for listening. Have a glorious night, and I will see you at the tees.